Hello everyone, and a warm welcome to Directions Live online webinar by Esri Malaysia. My name is Amir Faisal and I'm your host for today's session. So introducing today's presenter is Siti Rohana Tazura, Solution Engineer with Professional Services at Esri Malaysia. So a little background on hers. Embarking on her career in the GIS industry, she worked at the International Support Center ISC, where she took on a role as a GIS technical support in Esri for 4 years. While at ISC, Tazura provided high-quality support and constructed the bug enhancement documentation. She also provided training and mentoring for analysts. So with a passion in resolving technical issues and helping users, she then joined Esri Malaysia's professional services team to work closely with the local ArcGIS users. She is highly motivated, disciplined, and has a passion for learning, exploring, and troubleshooting Esri software until the issue is resolved. So in this webinar, we shall learn how workforce integration lets you combine and manage your Esri Field Apps, Survey 123, Collector, Navigator, and Explorer to create an inter-app workforce environment that seamlessly runs a variety of project workflows for multiple field apps. So without any further ado, I shall pass the presentation to Tazura. Over to you, Tazura.
Thank you, Amir. Welcome everyone to today's presentation. All right, so the first thing that we have is what is workforce, what does it do, and how does it feel with Esri ecosystem app and combine with other apps such as Collector and Survey 123. How does it work? So how do we use workforce? How does it work with backend of ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise? And lastly, we're gonna look at app integration with workforce. So how we can use workforce to integrate with other apps such as Collector for ArcGIS, Survey 123, and also Explorer. So firstly, we have a quick look at pretty much all field operation apps that Esri does provide, and sort of where does workforce sit in with those applications. So workforce sits as our major coordination app within the Esri ecosystem. So we can use workforce to set assignment for our mobile workers to provide, to get information where they are, and also to provide them with the information where they need to go and other reference they might need. So once we have set up all of our assignments that workers need to do, they can then go and need to be able to get to their particular assignment. So to doing that, we can use Navigator for ArcGIS, which is an advanced navigation and routing application from Esri for our workforce. It is really a good premium app and it works both within the network or disconnect environment. We can also use Explorer for ArcGIS and use that to provide a reference map for our users, and then use the other navigation application such as Google Map to be able to navigate us to the particular location that we need to go to for the data capture. Then once we reach to the task location, once we want to execute the assignment, of course we need to capture our data and do some work. So our two most popular apps that can be used to capture data is the first one, we have Collector for ArcGIS, where it is focusing on capturing data for map-centric data collection, or if location is really important. And then the second one, we have Survey 123, which is if we need to collect other data that is more in a form-centric or in a form that have conditionality data, then we are going to be the one to use Survey 123. So finally, once we have gone out and we have completed all the cycle of capturing our data, complete all the assignments, now we would like to monitor all the data that we have collected. So then for this one, we can use ArcGIS dashboard. With ArcGIS dashboard, we are also able to sort, monitor our coordination assignment, which, for example, what assignment that we have had set, what is the current status, whether it is already complete, whether it's still in progress, and we also know where our worker at any particular time. So next one is workforce for ArcGIS. How does it work? So workforce enable common view of work assignment for field and office workers. We can use the web application in the office to create and assign work to mobile workers, who then use the mobile app to work through to their to-do list. So workforce for ArcGIS has two main components, which are the web application, and for the other one is mobile application. So the web application is used by our dispatchers or our owner to create the project create the assignment, assign the assignment, and set up the maps for the workers that they are going to use, and also to provide some of information to our field workers. So the other one is we have our mobile application. So basically it is used by our mobile workers where they store all their assignments. The mobile workers using the app to complete to-do list on their mobile device as they finish assignment and getting notified as new worker is assigned within that mobile application if that time they are online. All that is backed by RGS Online or RGS Enterprise that is essentially a collection of hosted feature layers and web maps that are then used to drive our particular project. So when we look at these two components, it is actually a continual loops process which the assignment is created and managed by the dispatcher using the web application. And then mobile worker will then receive the task and execute the task until it's complete. Then all the information will be then passed back to the dispatcher to monitor all the work progressing. So it is sort of cycle that will be then improve our field assignment coordination. So next is workforce role. So in terms of having to look at our workforce for RJS role, there is a number of essentially roles that are created, and this is very strict roles within our workforce project. So for the first one, we will have our owner, which will likely be our sort of RGS administrator. They will set up, create, and configure that particular project. They also can have a dual role, both as either a dispatcher or mobile worker. But they do so all the setup of all the web maps, or the setup of who's in the project information, which is at the user from RGS organization as dispatcher or maybe mobile workers. Owner also responsible to create the assignments needed for workforce project. Then we got the dispatchers, create and dispatch those work assignments. So this might be just sort of manage and monitor all the assignments. They can essentially set those tasks for the workers, tell them who's going to be doing and provide sort of description of what they will need to do. So basically the dispatcher will create and assign the task to the mobile workers as well as providing necessary information to the mobile workers. And then lastly, we have our mobile workers here. So they can only sort of receive the assignment through the mobile application. They can then go out to do the work. So providing information back to the dispatchers about what happened. They can accept or decline the assignment and then update their status using the mobile app. Then they also get tracked through the mobile application. So in terms of our first project, just having a quick look at sort of how that integrates with our RJS and sort of how we can work within RJS Online. So our first project as a start off is essentially a particular project that we are going to be using to it at any one time. So for example, we might need one to solve our utilities if they need to do inspections, say water meters or water hydrants or water, and that might be the one particular project as of as an inspection. But if you might need to sort of looking at drill holes or sort of repairing drill holes, so it might be another particular projects. And then within that, we will have our number of sub-projects that we are going to set up for our particular workers. And within our Just Online, once we created the project, we then get a number of layers, a couple of web maps, and a group that created for us. So really quickly going through those web layers. So assignment layers essentially holds all the assignment information that we do have for a particular project and provide information about our dispatchers, who they are, what assignment that they have created. We also get to know what type of assignment have they been accepted, declined, and all the information about those particular assignments. As for the worker layers, it does provide information about our workers, where they are that coming current time, what they are doing, whether they are working or offline, or whether they are on break. And for the location layers, it actually provides us the ability to track our mobile workers through their location. And within the project, this also create a couple of web maps. So first of all, the dispatcher web map. So essentially, this is the information that our dispatchers will see within the web application. So the dispatcher web map contains the assignment and workers layers. So the dispatcher use the dispatcher web map to create tasks, assign the tasks, and monitor mobile worker status. Meanwhile, for the mobile workers web map, it's content assignment, workers, and location layers. So this is the web map that our mobile workers will see in their mobile application. So we have the some sort of process where they want to be able to see the assignment assigned to them, and then also need to be able to see sort of where they are and make sure that's all correct. Again, we also want to provide them with sort of reference file. For example, they need to do for a road network, for asset, also any other information that will be important to them. So we can set all up within the web map just like we would do in our other web maps such as Collector for GIS. So in addition to these default layers, we can add our own layers to the both web map to further customize the user experience and functionality to the workforce project. And then finally, it also creates a group for us. So if we do have data that need to be seen by dispatchers or mobile workers, we can share that data into that particular group, and they will be able to see that particular data. So there is no sort of having to share it more that cause of delay to get the data to the dispatchers or mobile workers. And then we can also share some of our survey form or our collector maps that we are going to be using with our app integration. So we can share that into that group so that those layers can be then seen by their mobile workers. And then we can start to configure our app integration. Alright, so next I'm going to show a demo on how to create our project in Workforce for ArcGIS. So in this example, I will show using ArcGIS Online. So in ArcGIS Online, the Workforce app is automatically available. So what we do need to do is just to log in to ArcGIS Online organization, go to the web launcher and choose Workforce. It will then bring to you to the Workforce web application, which is workforce.rgs.com/project. But if you are using RGS Enterprise, the URL will be custom depending on your RGS Enterprise setup, and there is additional component that need to be installed and configured. Alright, so here I will show the demo to create a project for hydrant inspection in Shah Alam. So in this workforce project, we just simply give the title, the description. So like this one, right? I just put a project for hydrant inspection in Shah Alam area, and then just click the create project. So right now, this is the process that actually from the back end of RGS Online. So in this process, it will create all of our default layers, our group, the web map, and it's actually create the predefined layer for our workforce project. All right, so it will take some time to create all the predefined layers. All right, so now we have our project here, and then the first thing that we need to do is we can start to add our assignment. So here we'll add the first one is hydrant inspection, and then for the second one I'll just add for the water meter water main inspection. And for the next one, I'll just add hydrant repair. And for the last one, I just put as follow-up inspection. So this is some of example of assignment type that we can add into our workforce project. So once we have done that, we're still going on to our next thing, which is setting up our users. So essentially anybody in our organization can then become part of this project. So we give them a role either as a mobile workers or as dispatcher. So here I'm just go ahead and just go ahead to add a couple of different users. We give them role, dispatcher as mobile worker, and then add them in. So yeah, once this user have been added in, it will then have ability to kind of start off our project and start off create some assignment or task. So here it will start with the blank map, and there is numbers to create our assignment. For the first one, we just need to choose what assignment that we want to create, and we can zoom to our location, which location that we want to create the assignment. Alright, so just click the point there and assign to who the mobile workers. And for the assignment, we can set the priority. So this is the additional information that we can get. And then set the due date, set the time, which means when the task need to be complete. And if we have the assignment ID, then we just can add there. Right, so we have our first assignment there. And for the second one is we can search our location from the search button there. And from there, once we found the location, and then we can just create assignment from there. And the same method, just choose which assignment that we want to create and assign the status, assign to the mobile workers, and as well as all of that additional information. And at the below, if you have any attachment that you want to pass to the mobile worker, you just can just attach the document. All right, for the last one, let's say this is a really quick one to show. We can also create assignment of multiple location at one. So if we do have users that need to sort of go to multiple areas on one assignment, we can add those in, and both of them will be shown sort of as location that particular worker will need to go before they can complete the assignment. So once I create that, I'm just going to put up until the last little information, just like before. Select an assignment type, which we always need to have, and then create the assignment. All right, so there we have pretty much set up for all of our workforce, and it's actually ready to go for the mobile workers to use it. But here next, I will show you how we can integrate our workforce with other Esri app, such as Collector. So just need to go back to our project and just click configure. Then from the advanced tab, we can see here that we have the option to configure our Esri app. So in this example, I show you to configure the web apps with the Collector for JS, and then with the survey 123 for ArcGIS. So for this one, which means the mobile worker can choose which application that they want to use to collect the data. All right, so it's done. That's how we can create our project workforce in the web application. All right, so this one is this overview on how the mobile worker access their assignment using the mobile application. So for this example, they can see the to-do list assignment that they need to execute. So here we can see the list, and we can also check, we can see which project that they involve. And for example, here we have 4, but for this example, we just go to the hydro inspection, and we can start to execute the assignment. And for, yes, here we can see, we can select the status, whether we want to start the assignment or we decline, and then we can choose which app that we want to use to collect the data. And for this one, for example, we choose survey 123, and this is the seamless process where we can integrate our workforce with Esri application. So this is process actually, the mobile worker don't need to leave the workforce. They can pass back the information to the dispatcher by going back to the workforce. All right, so the great thing about workforce is not only we can set up our users and create assignment for them, but we can also then integrate it into our other Esri app, just like I showed previously. So in terms of how we do that, essentially we need to have a particular web map to be used in Collector for ArcGIS. Also, if I will collect a data using Survey 123, then web map and the form need to be added or shared into our default workforce project. So once that's added in, then that information will be there to allow us to integrate the app just like I showed in the demo just now. So once we've done that setup, we'll have a real benefit in field assignments coordination, which we can streamline all the process for our workers so they can never really have to go out and look at other applications. They can navigate to an assignment straight away from the workforce. They can collect data at that point or open just we want to tree and then finish that work all without ever leaving the workforce app. And then finally, they can be able to update all the assignment by coming back into the workforce app. So this integration actually will maximize the efficiency of the field coordination for the mobile workers. All right, so next that we are going to look is because Workforce can come with integrated with other apps, but because Workforce is essentially just a collection of hosted feature layers and web map, we can also use our application to work back in with Workforce and create integration with the Workforce itself. So as we know, Workforce for RJS is designed around two primary roles, which is the dispatcher or owner, who creates and assign work, and we have the mobile worker that completes work. However, there may be a third role, which is the supervisor, who needs to see the high level status of the project. So the supervisor may be interested in key performance metrics, such as the number of assignments that were completed in a given week, the number of assignments due by the end of the week, or the number of assignments complete by each worker. Although the Workforce web app allows this person to view and edit assignment, a much easiest way to share and visualize this information is by using a read-only app, which is we can use RGS dashboard. Alright, so this is just quick example. So this is a sort of dashboard that we can create from Workforce project. So the first one here we can see in the middle is the map, which is showing the assignment status, and then for the green color is actually showing the assignment that is in progress. The gray is actually the assignment that haven't been started. And then at the left side, we can see the total number of the assignment within the priority and the list of assignment that need to be complete by date. And on the top, we can see the total assignment, the type of the assignment. And for the below one, we can see how many total assignment have been complete and that has in progress. So this is the quick view for the supervisor that they can monitor the workforce project using RLGS dashboard. All right, so I think this is all that I got in this limited time. I will pass this back to Amir. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks Tazura. That was a great overview of the apps for the field, workforce app integration, and I'm certain everyone found it interesting as well. So along the way, we've had a couple of questions that come through. So if you have been listening intently to Tazura and you haven't had the chance to type out your question, there's still time so you can do so in the questions pane. So just to kick off with one of the questions from the attendee, we have a question from Pauline over here.
Right.
Okay, so she is wondering if the web map can be shown within the workforce application as well, within the app.
I see. All right. Thank you for the question. So what I guess she want to see the web map from the web application, but sure in the web map application, right?
Yes.
So the answer is actually yes, because when we configure the web map as the dispatcher, actually we can see both web map. One is the web map for the dispatcher, and one the web map for mobile workers. So yeah, so actually we can see both web map in the web application.
Okay, thank you. So we have another question from Pauline as well. The question goes, can workforce work offline?
All right, that's a very great question from Pauline. Actually, workforce can work online, but recently Esri has worked on offline workforce, which is in this early January. Esri has started to launch the workforce beta program for the iOS device, and it's still in ongoing right now. And recently in May, Esri has released for the Android device to work offline workforce. So yeah, it's actually a very good news, and SG is still working on it until now. So just take a look on that. Maybe next year we can use the workforce offline.
Yes, so basically it's coming soon.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Okay, so the next question that we have is, let me see, we have one from Shuhada. So the question goes, when we create the assignment, can we use shape points as the location instead of searching location on the map? So in searching, in terms of usually what you do in the demo is that you search the address. Let's say they have prefix assets in there. Can they select that as a assignment?
Okay, right. Also a great question. So instead of we search the location by address from the map, yes, we can search by, for example, if we have asset ID, or we can have any information from our layer. Yes, we can configure it from the layer. Then when we search, it will give the result depend on our field, which is, for example, the asset ID. Yes, it can be done.
Okay, that's great. So the next question is from Roland. So the question goes, hi, using these tools like Collector and Workforce, which may require high accuracy mobile device for navigation and positioning. So this is GPS. So the question goes, is there any device recommended for these tasks?
All right. Hi, Roland. All right. Thank you for your question. So for the accuracy of the mobile, actually, Esri does not have any recommendation device for the accuracy of the apps, but we do have resources that we can refer, which is that one. Maybe we can send later the link, but generally, Esri does not have any recommend device for the accuracy of the apps. Right.
Okay, so let's take a look at other questions. Okay. All right, we have another question from Iskandar over here.
Okay.
What is the licensing required to run Workforce?
All right. So for the license required for a workforce, with the latest RGS Online, we do have the user type, which is creator. We have RGS professional, and we have the field worker. So to use workforce for RGS, it's actually required at least field worker and above. So which means in RGS Online, we can use field worker, creator, and RGS professional, as well as RGS Enterprise version 10.7 and above. But for the RGS Enterprise 10.6.1 below, actually then they require the level 2 user to use workforce.
Okay, great. So the next question is from Muhammad Anas. Okay, so the question goes, in Workforce, can we put other feature layers, let's say from other survey 123?
Okay.
So that's the question.
All right. So thank you for that question. Yes, we can add the feature layers, the other feature layers, but specifically from the survey 123, I think that one I need to further checking, and we will get back to you later.
Okay, so I guess Tazura will check on that and revert back to you. So the next question is from Jimmy Low. So the question goes, Tazura.
Right.
Hi, is the information collected via the app is tagged with their geolocation so that it can be known where is the info from? So I guess when we capture that location, does it tell you the exact location where it is captured?
All right, thank you, Jimmy, for the question. So for the location, when we how it tag the location is, it's only capture when the mobile worker is working, but when the mobile worker is offline or on break, then that's mean that's the last location that they will capture.
Okay, Jimmy, I hope that answers your question. So just to add, it will also use your GPS, and yes, it will be geotagged to the location as well. Okay, so moving on, we have a second question. Oh, sorry, the second last question we have here from Rashid. So are there any additional components required to work with Portal, ArcGIS Enterprise?
All right, additional component for RGS Enterprise. Thank you for that question. Yes, the answer is yes. For the Argus Enterprise, version 10.7 1 and below, there is additional component required to use Workforce YJS, and we need to install and configure before we can use the Workforce YJS in Argus Enterprise. But we do have a good news for the latest version, which is 10.8. It will automatically install for Argus Enterprise. So yeah, I think that's a very good news for us.
All right, great. So the last question is from Muhammad Amin. The question goes, are public accounts supported for this?
All right, public account. All right, so for Workforce RJS, is actually same as other Esri app, which is actually require RJS organizational account. So unfortunately, for public account, it will not supported.
Okay, so I guess that means you at least need to have an organizational account.
Yes.
Okay, so that's all the time we have today for your questions. So there's more questions over here, and I believe Tazura will surely reach out to you with all the response. Okay.
Right.
So just a little about what's coming up next on our webinar series. So on the 3rd of June, we will have a webinar on creating and sharing 3D GIS content on the web. And this will be presented by Zatil Husna. And on the 24th of June, we'll take a look at the aspect of security within ArcGIS through the ArcGIS Security in the Cloud webinar. So this webinar will be led by Muhammad Akmal. So continue to keep a lookout for this space, which is esrimalaysia.com.my/webinars for any upcoming events and webinars. We really love your feedback, so take the time to fill out the brief survey that you will see pop up at the end of the session. So further feedback or questions can be sent directly to events@esrimalaysia.com.my. And finally, if you would like to rewatch this webinar or share with your colleagues, the recording will be shortly available on Esri Malaysia events page. So I would like to thank Azura again, and thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you for the next Directions Live online. Goodbye.
Bye.